You are now tuned into Mix Station Radio Live. The views and opinions of the guests and the hosts you hear on Mix Station Radio Live are not necessarily those of the staff and the management of Mix Station Radio Live, its sponsors, or advertisers.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to R.U.M TV, Royale Urban Media, where everyone meets royalty. Okay, everybody, I am your host, and today's topic, we're going to be talking about sexual abuse. I have a few friends here with me. They're just going to go over and tell who they are, what it is that they do, and then we're just going to dive right into the topic. We can start with you.
All right. My name is Darnell Felder, and I just graduated from Morgan State University with a degree in business administration, and I plan on starting a political party in the Maryland and Baltimore City that focuses on the black struggle, and I have a petition out right now on change.org where I can get signatures. I plan on giving this petition to the Governor Larry Hogan, and the Mayor of Baltimore City. So yeah.
Nice.
Hi everybody, my name is Brianna Jackson. I'm a Howard University alumna. I am also a rape, sexual assault, domestic violence advocate, and a rape survivor. I go around the DMV area and provide resources to those that need them that have experienced trauma.
Thank you, Bree.
Hi everybody, I'm Antoine Williams. I am an entertainer, social commentator, and an actor.
Hey, and what's up? Well, first and foremost, thank you guys so much for joining me on my first show here on Mix Station Radio. Yeah, we finally here, y'all. We finally here. Okay. So, first we'll dive in, and if you want to go ahead, if you feel comfortable speaking on, your story, and then we can go talk about resources, or but I'll let you lead.
All right, everybody. So, like I said before, I am a rape survivor. I experienced my assault back in 2013 March at Howard University. Not necessarily at the university, but with Howard University students. I went through a 3-year-long federal court case where we ended up having a plea bargain for what happened, and it was a process. I don't know how in depth you want me to get about it, but from that situation or circumstance, I was able to receive an award from the Department of Justice for speaking out against my assault. They say that usually only like 33% of people actually report their rape or sexual assault, and it just dwindles as it goes down, where people don't even get the chance to actually prosecute. I'm one of those individuals that didn't fully get to prosecute because the individual took a plea bargain. He was charged originally with 15 years for second-degree sexual abuse, first-degree kidnapping. But with the plea bargain, it went down to a misdemeanor sexual abuse charge, and he only had 3 years of probation. So that's kind of what I went through. Years of a lot of mental health help, group therapy, stuff like that. But just speaking about it helps a lot. It makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah.
I don't know, again, how in depth you want me to go, but that's
Well, like I said, this is everyone. When y'all see me on this camera, this is everybody's platform. So we wanted to really discuss this topic because we need to bring more awareness to what's going on. Everybody is so, all over the place with everything that's going on, and nobody is really, not nobody, but it's not a lot of people that are taking the time out to really dig into, what we're going through. A lot of children, they need more eyes on them, especially around other children, and we have adults around us whom we're thinking that we can trust, and we can't. Sometimes I feel like we could be too trusting, just thinking, okay, oh, I know so-and-so. I know this one. Oh, no, this couldn't happen to me. I'm too woke. I'm too aware. But that's not always the case. So I just would like for a lot of people to really just get on board with the movement and understand that, this does not just happen to women. This happened to men as well. And it may sound weird. It may sound, blown out, but it's true, and a lot of people are afraid to speak out on it because they are afraid. They don't know how they're going to be perceived, and they need to know that it's not your fault. You should, you should talk to someone about it. You should, make someone aware, because it could happen to a family member, and Lord forbid, you could probably stop it from happening to someone else's child or a family member or friend. So that's why I think it's really, really, really important to have these conversations and have them consistently. Not just say it one time and then, okay, you heard me that time. No, keep it going. When you hear something that's repetitive, it starts to stick to your mind, and you're more cautious and you're more aware. So that's why I wanted to have this talk here. Darnell, do you have anything you would like to say?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to, gather the thoughts together because, I just want to say I empathize with you. And, I just wanted to ask, how hard was it for you to actually, seek help or justice for your occurrence?
So originally I wasn't going to say anything. I think a lot of the times, a lot of people that experience sexual abuse, sexual assault, rape, domestic violence even, they're deterred from going to get help or receiving help because of the stigma. People will say, oh, well, it was your fault. They're very dismissive. Or a lot of the times, it's shameful. They feel shame and guilt for what has happened. With society saying what they're saying, with people saying what they're saying, and just overall just being violated in that sense, you kind of, especially because it's so intimate, it's such a vulnerable thing to have to go through. Just explaining that to people can be hard too. So when people have to go report it, they have to relive it over and over, and that can be re-traumatizing, which is why a lot of the times people don't want to say anything at all. So for me, I acted like it didn't happen for about 6 months. After I was assaulted in March, I went along my merry way. I pretended like everything was fine. I said I'm good. I partied all the time, and everybody thought I was okay. It wasn't until my parents received a bill in the mail, and I don't know if you all know, but when you are assaulted and you report, I actually did receive medical help the night that I was assaulted. But they ask you, do you want to report your case, or do you want to go... do you want to even call the cops or involve the cops? I had said, no, don't send anything to my house. Don't tell anybody what happened. I don't want you to know. I don't want anyone to know. But I think it was just God that kind of sent that letter to my house, that bill. My parents received it, and they were like, well, you're only at Howard. Why didn't you tell me what happened? And I was just like, I lied at first because I didn't want them to know that something so horrible and traumatic had happened to me. And so I was just like, I had bronchitis. My parents were like, well, if you were in the hospital, you should have just told me. And then I just broke down and just told them what happened. My dad gave me 7 days to go report this. He said, we can talk about it. We can share it. We can say whatever we have to say about it. But, in the event that you don't want to, we'll leave it alone. I'm giving you 7 days. After that 7 day, I won't say anything to you. And I said, okay. My mom had made a statement. After I had been assaulted, there was a group of guys from the place that had assaulted me. And while I was in college, one of them had reached out to me and stated like, oh, I heard what happened to you. I hadn't told anyone, so how do you know what happened to me? He had made a statement that the person that assaulted me or the people that assaulted me were going around doing this. This is what they do. And so this is not the first time, nor will it be the last time that it happens, and you have to report it. I sat there and looked at him and cried and said, I'm not reporting it. Again, I got the letter in the mail from my parents, which is why I say it had to have been God because I wasn't going to say anything. My mom looked at me and said the same thing, those same exact words. This is not the first time and it won't be the last. I waited until the 7th day to go report my case at the Metropolitan Police Department. Once I got there, it was very intimidating. They don't really tell you where to go, what to do. You just get there and they're like, why are you here? Literally, that's what they said to me. Why are you here? And I said, I'm here to report a rape. I waited maybe like 30 minutes until I saw a lieutenant, and then it was on from there. As far as mental health goes, I didn't start seeking mental health until maybe about a year later. I actually had a lot of time to go through whatever I was going through with the court case with the police department, and I had a caseworker who told me, hey, you should seek some help, or like you should get some help. For me, I was in denial for a very long time. I didn't think I was heard or I was fine and I could deal with it on my own. maybe about a year later, I kind of wigged out on my dad for something very little. I saw that I had a lot of anger, and I was just yelling at people, and I was just going off on people for no reason. My dad gave me a hug, and he was like, "You probably need to go get some help." And I was like, "You're probably right."
Yeah.
So for me, it was very difficult because even as a black woman or just a woman in general, just mental health in general, you just don't. Like, you don't think you need it, or you feel like I'll be fine, or you can handle it, or it's a lot. So it was hard for me to go ask for it. It was hard for me to even go to the police department. On top of that, too, when it comes to, like, I was assaulted by a black man or black men, I felt bad. Like, I felt guilty, and I felt like I don't want to send a black man to jail. You know, I don't want to be a part of that.
Wow.
So for me, it was more like, I just feel like this is horrible. It wasn't like, it was just a horrible situation to be in.
If you don't mind me asking, okay, so you said you didn't want to report it. My question is, did you not want to report it in fear of how you were going to be viewed, or were you afraid that he would retaliate or he would be angry about that?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
So as far as I know now in retrospect, or after going through my plea case, he was a part of a group, like I said, that went around doing this. So while I was on campus, my freshman year, I'm new, second semester, I have this group of men that were there that night that know what happened, walking around just like, they laughed at me, they would point at me, they would do a lot of stuff, and I walked down with my head down for a little while, but then I realized, like, you know, I didn't do this to me, like, you know, someone else did this to me, you know, so I started picking myself back up. I did receive some mental health help, which pretty much saved me because I was on a really bad track.
Right.
And, you know, I did pray a lot. I actually started going to a park, and I laid on the ground one day, and I laid there, like, I let it all out. I was just like, you know what, if I'm down and I'm out, like, I will give you everything just to, like, help me figure out what I need to do to feel better, figure out what I need to do. You can have everything you want, God, just fix it, because I can't fix this one.
That's right.
And from that point on, you know, I started doing speaking events, and every time I did a speaking event, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. This is so great.
Right.
Or like, you know, I started getting it out. But it was tough too, because even with my case, it started as a civil case and went to a federal court case. Originally, I wasn't able to speak about it at all. I couldn't even speak about my case until after we went through the whole entire thing 3 years later.
Wow, how difficult was that? Like, I know people wanted to know, they were just curious and wondering about you. Like,
I got really good at pretending.
Really? Oh.
I got really good at pretending and faking and acting like everything was okay. And I was fine. Like I said, I partied. And I think even on campus, I was known for being a partier. And I just continued to party. I partied. I hung out with my friends. I traveled the world. I was just doing whatever just to make sure I knew that there was another day coming, or coping the best way I knew how, not quitting. You know, so it was difficult. That court case and going to the police can be re-traumatizing, and it was. But it's so important to report it. Okay. It's so important to report it. I understand why people wouldn't want to. I get it wholeheartedly. Mid-case, I had people, or my detective kind of disappear. Mid-case, I had people telling me they couldn't help me, or like they don't know where they can get me resources. I had to figure it out by myself. If it wasn't for my caseworker, my wonderful district attorney who like sat down and like, she was a black woman, she held me down, she was like, we're gonna get this person, we're gonna figure it out. She really looked out for me. But if it wasn't for those people like helping me, I probably wouldn't have made it. I'm gonna sit down and say that it would have been really rough, and I probably wouldn't be where I am right now. But because they looked out, it was a lot easier. But then I did learn that from that situation, a lot of the times people of color, women of color, they don't receive the same help. They don't receive the same resources.
The same care
when it comes to the Metropolitan Police Department, or even when it comes to rape. A lot of people just brush it off and they dismiss it. Even the court systems, because they're like, at the end of the day, they feel like people aren't going to go through it all the way. That's one of the main reasons I received an award for the Department of Justice.
Wow. Wow, that is very, very, very commendable, actually. Like I said, a lot of people are afraid to, speak out on that. So my question is actually, so how long does someone have to report something? Like, how long after the incident do they have, or does it not?
It depends on where you are. So statewide, it changes. I know that for sure. I can't give you an exact. I know that I'm pretty sure in D.C. you can just report it. Like, if it happens, you can report it. I don't know how it is in Baltimore, but I do know if it's happened, you can report it. I will say it's hard to go forward, which is why a lot of people kind of dwindle down and they're like, oh, I don't want to report it anymore if you don't have evidence. I learned very quickly evidence is the main reason why things go forward. I had to share my story to a petite grand jury, which is like, I think about 12 people. And they had to determine if my case was important enough for us to move forward. That's kind of how it works. So first you have your case, the detective tells you, they'll call around, do whatever they do, and they're like, okay, well, you have enough evidence, we're going to move on, which is what my case was like. They said, we might have a case here. And they took my case. Other times, it's not like that. If they see or feel like it's not deemed good enough or it's not going to go to trial, they won't take it. It's money and resources. If they don't have the money and resources for it, or if it seems like it's not going to go through, why waste the time? So they don't.
Okay, this is actually, I'm sorry, I'm not getting off topic, I'm kind of getting off topic, but the Bill Cosby thing, like, that happened so many years ago, yet he was convicted. He's sitting there, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I heard what? Thinking about that situation?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I would say, not even to go, I don't want to go into theories or whatever. I just say, I think that counts with like a certain like spectrum like of power. Because I was going to bring up the Jeffrey Epstein documentary, where he did all that stuff to all those young women, and how money and like influence can either get you out of a certain predicament and situation, or if you're on the wrong end of the spectrum, money and the power will get you targeted. So that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Or money and power keeps stuff from coming to you. Yeah, sometimes your position will allow you to just have certain things not come to you at all. You can do whatever you want and know that the consequences are not going to come your way. I think that's why Bill Cosby got away with as much as he did for as long as he did. I think that's the reason R. Kelly. And it's something crazy about R. Kelly. And I think there's a failure of the generation before us that saw all these things go on. He made music about it. It was very blatant. Yeah. But they allowed it to carry on for so long. I have no clue how that even happened. But now this is a man that we know has written music with Michael Jackson, won Grammys. I remember in elementary school, we sung "I Believe I Can Fly" at every
right. I believe
every single time. This inspirational. You graduate from kindergarten, I believe I can fly. Yeah, we know what we're going to play. We know what we're going to sing.
Right.
But to think that the voice behind that was doing something monstrous, and it's just chilling.
Oh, we got a call. It's okay. We got this, y'all. We got this.
We got it.
Okay. My fault, buddy. My fault. You hear me? You still there? Okay, my fault. We're going to get together.
That was a good point. That was a really good point.
That's what had to be said.
You just laid it out on the table like that. I dig it. I dig it.
That's what I do.
I do want to thank you for, and I do send like my condolences to you because that I cannot imagine. Okay, like I have 5 brothers. I'm the only girl, and like they would
crazy. I know your brothers.
Exactly. Like so
I know your brothers.
We've always been like so close. My parents are like no, you don't have to go over everybody's house, and you could just stay. We don't know, and then we'll be like, why you so mean? Like, why we can't go? And it's just like when you get older, you really realize, and it's like you're grateful for why your parents said no sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
But there's a flip token to that as well. What happens when the trouble is not outside the home, it's inside?
that's true too, and that's true too.
And I know there's a thing in the black community. What happens in this house stays in this
And
house.
I'm totally, I'm against that.
Yeah.
I am against that because
If what
wrong is wrong.
Absolutely. If what's happening in this house is causing me pain and causing me trouble and heartache and mental trauma,
Exactly.
I'm talking to somebody.
Yeah,
Somebody going to jail.
Somebody gonna know what
Somebody going
happened.
to take the fall.
You, your mother, your aunt, I don't care. Somebody going down.
And
Somebody.
I don't know why that is. I think it derives from slavery because of the. I just got finished reading the book. It's very. What's the name of it off the top of my head? It's coming. The Willie Lynch letter. It's still considered a bestseller.
Really?
It's still considered a bestseller. And certain. After
Wow.
all these years, it's still considered a bestseller. And it's mandatory in certain classes. I think African American Studies in college that you have to read it. And I want to shout out my friend, Isaiah, who told me about it.
Go
and I was
Isaiah.
like, what? Okay, so I'm going to read it. So I got the book and I read it. And it pretty much lays out how they separated the family. How they removed the male from the house, how they demasculized the strongest male, how they left the woman to deal with the children, and we can see the effects of that even today. I think a quote in the book said, if these tactics are implemented correctly, they will last 300 years, all the way up until 2012. It's 2020. We still see the effects of this.
That's true.
We
That's
still
very
see
true.
the effects of this. And that, I think, Bree, when you were talking about you didn't want to send a black man to jail, part of those things, part of the problem came from that, that we already saw our men leave. I don't want to be the cause of having him leave again. But no, that's not cool. That's not cool. What happened to you was not cool.
That's true.
I'm all for black. I love black people. Black power. But black people can do some stuff wrong.
That's true.
Your color does not keep you from being right or wrong. Right. So, look, brother, first of all, you hurting the black queen. I don't know what's wrong with you.
Right.
I don't know what's wrong with you. But
We don't like that.
Teach you had an amen moment.
Yeah, for those that know me, y'all know what the deal is.
No,
Yeah,
and
black women.
it has a lot to do with the upbringing. So a lot of men, when they don't have that male role because they're taken out, and it's like, okay, let's demasculate him, let's put him on the back burner. You still got these young boys that's growing up, and who's guiding them? When you have mom there, she has to play both roles. She has to have 2 pairs of eyes. She has to have 2 of everything. She got to be nurturing and she got to be the disciplinary. She got to be both. And it's like, to the child, it's kind of confusing because it's like, I'm looking at you, I see my mom, but like, you trying to teach me things that I'm supposed to learn from my dad or a male figure, and I'm not getting that, So a lot of guys, they grow up. I saw this post yesterday. They grow up hating women or treating them bad because of how their mom made them feel, Guys, they grow up and they react and they become what their mom put into their heart, If they not showing them enough love and enough attention and enough care, or, they're abusing them, or they're going to grow up like, no woman is good for me. I'm going to play with you. I'm going to play with you. Like, I'm going to drag, or, whatever. And then it's not even just the men, it's women too, when they don't have their mom in their life or their father, so.
Yeah, and I think it's also, like, really important to also know about, like, groupthink, especially when raising your children. Groupthink, pretty much the idea that there's one person who thinks this way and then everybody kind of follows suit. More so, it's important to, like, create leaders.
Okay.
So, like, just for your sons, your daughters, create leaders that know, like, hey, just because this person views it or they're popular and they want to do this doesn't mean you have to. I
That's
think
true.
that was the main reason why I was assaulted, because of a groupthink type of mentality, that this person thought, oh, this is cool, or this person was like, oh, I have to be a part of this group
Okay.
to be accepted.
That's true.
So I think that's why it happened. On top of that, not just groupthink, but I think it's really important to tell children or educate children on their own boundaries. Like, you know, you should let your children know that, hey, this is your body.
That's right.
You,
right.
if someone is touching you, let us know, or don't have people have access to your body unless you want them to.
That's
or don't
right.
You have to educate people on that. And I think in the Black community, we're so afraid of anything remotely sexual because we don't want our children to have extra kids, or we're so so deterred by past traumas or whatever it is that we don't educate our children on keeping themselves safe,
Right.
As far as their bodies go.
And the failure to educate leads to curiosity.
Right.
And someone is going to teach you something if you're looking for it. I think that's a failure of the Black community, the church. There are multiple facets of life that we should be teaching our children, and we're not. And it's something that they need to know.
Right.
And someone is going to teach them
Right.
one way or the other, whether it's good or bad.
That's right.
So I think that we need to do a better job of letting these taboo subjects not be so taboo anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. That is so true. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I created, like, I'm going to just say this quick. I created like a universal restoration guide for Black people, and in that guide I said, you know, when it comes to like seeking help or, you know, discussing issues that, you know, we're constantly, or a lot of Black people are constantly like, oh, you gotta just go to church, or, you know, just pray, things like that. And we had to, you know, encourage people to go to, Black people to go to therapy, and encourage Black people to become psychologists as well, because Black people make up 4% of the psychology demographic. And I'm just in it right there.
Here's a question.
I got
I'm
Will.
sorry. Hi, Will. Hi, Will.
Hey, good afternoon, or good evening.
Hi, Will. You live with Royalties and the crew. What's up?
Nothing too much. I'd like to say good evening to everyone, and shout out to you for providing a platform for people to have, you know, comfortability to come on and, you know, share their experiences and things that they went through.
Thank you. I appreciate that. This is
Hopefully
our
this
goal.
will, you know, shine some light on things that people have experiences that they hold on to, and that they, you know, hide from their families in the world, and it will provide other people to make them more comfortable to share those things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for acknowledging the show. Appreciate you, man.
So,
Okay,
Hello?
the question, I'm sorry, I see. Was this your question that was posted on in the comments? Ask her.
yes,
Has she
I
finally-
wanted to ask the young lady, has she, you know, been delivered from her experience? And what did she do to, you know, find a place of healing?
As far as delivered, I would say yes. I don't know if you heard earlier, but after I was assaulted, I kind of had a breakdown where I went to a park, and I laid on the ground and I cried for hours, and just shared with God what I was going through. I asked him, hey, you know, I need you to fix this. I need you to take this away because I feel as low as I possibly can get. Can I give you everything? If I give you everything, can you make me feel better? I prayed, I cried. Even my parents know now that I go to the park to go lay on the ground and cry. But, you know, I always tell people you can't get any lower than dirt. So, you know, you can only pick yourself back up, which is one of the reasons why I was just doing that, just to make sure I knew I could get back up. But I will say I was delivered. I will say that God has helped me in ways I can't even explain to you. I feel like he looks out for me every day. I feel like he talks to me. And it might sound crazy to people, but it's really, I found myself even not wanting to speak about these things. I wanted to act like everything wasn't going to happen. I found myself in churches and people were asking me, hey, can you come speak at this church? Or, hey, can you do this? And I was like, oh, man, I got to speak at the church. Like, I don't want to talk about this at the church. But I look at it as this is what God wants me to do. This is what my mission is. That's it. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be helping people. I'm supposed to be educating them on, you know, the nuances of sexual assault, domestic violence. I'm supposed to be educating people on sexual health so that they can understand that there are different things to talk about in a healthy manner. But that is what my mission is. That's what God has given me. So I do feel delivered. I feel like he's guiding me. So, yes, that's it.
That's beautiful. You're very special.
That's so necessary. Like, I can't remember where, but I believe the scripture says we overcome by the word of the Lamb, the blood of the Lamb, and the word of our testimony. It's necessary for you to share your story. It's necessary. Someone has to hear in order for them to be free. Yeah. So, and that goes for anybody. So if anybody has gone through something traumatic or just trivial or just petty, whatever, somebody needs to hear in order for them to feel released.
Yeah. That's one of the main reasons I actually became an advocate. So if you guys don't know, there are different types of advocates for different things: sexual assault, domestic violence, mental health, suicide, all of those. I do it. I pretty much like give people my contact information, personal contact information, social media, whatever it is. They reach out to me, and I just talk to them because they just need to be heard. So some people just need to hear a story. Some people just need to have someone listen to them. I literally talk to them and say, I know resources. If you need some, I point them in the directions they need to go to get those resources. But I really just sit down and hear their story. I think for a long time, I didn't have anyone listening to me, or I had to pretend so long that I felt like I couldn't talk to anyone. Right. So I started talking to these people, and they were like, hey, this happened to me too. And I'm like, oh my gosh, girl, let's talk. Or guy, because I've had a lot of men come to me too and tell me things that have happened to them.
Wow. I don't think you wanted to say something.
Have you ever thought about, like, writing a book?
I am currently, look, I've been trying to write a book for a minute now.
It takes time.
It takes a lot of time.
It does.
I have like 2 chapters, but in my journey of trying to figure out what I want to do with that, I realize I'm better as a public speaker.
I like that.
So
I like that.
I'm figuring out that I need to probably be around the people and speak. I can share my story with storytelling. So I am I guess a public storyteller. That is what I am. Okay. So I do go around and just share my story.
It does seem like it's a little more intimate. You know, you actually like right there. Sometimes people, they receive things a little better actually hearing it word of mouth. They hear it from the horse's mouth, you know, so they can, you know, take that. I like that. Thank you for
good question.
Wow, okay. On the heels of you saying, oh my gosh, I was trying to keep it in my mind, like, don't forget. Oh my God, don't do this, Tease.
It's fine.
It's
coming. Sorry, you're good.
It's coming. Yeah.
You're good.
It's right there.
While you working on it, let me ask you a question, Bree.
Yes, sir.
How easy was it? Not easy, wrong word. How different was it sharing with people that you have no relationship with versus people you are friends with and have family connections
Good question.
That's a really good question.
Don't forget.
Okay. Gotcha.
So, in telling friends and family members, a lot of them didn't know how to deal with it. I think I was received much more positively from people that didn't know me than my own parents and families and friends. Granted, they were always supportive. It wasn't like they didn't support me. I just think they couldn't understand, or sometimes they tried to cope the best way they could, because a lot of people don't realize once someone in their family has been assaulted, it's not just that person that's affected, it's everybody. Everybody has been affected, and that's something I had to learn, and that people are going to deal with it differently. So for friends, when I was telling my friends, they would say, some friends would be like, okay, we could talk about it. Some friends would sit down and be like, oh, you're not over this yet? Or like, oh, like really? It's been years, or like you haven't dealt with it. I thought you were getting help. And like even my dad, you know, I love my dad to death. He sits down and talks to me about everything, even this. And I think one time I was so sad and depressed and I didn't go to work. And he was like, why didn't you go to work? And I was like, I don't feel good. Like, my mental health is out of whack. I feel horrible. I don't feel good. And he said, you know, this whole time I saw you going to work. I saw you getting up and eating food. I saw you doing whatever you were doing. I thought you were okay. And I just sit down and tell him, I'm not okay.
Right.
I'm not okay, Dad. Yeah. I don't know when I'm going to be okay, but I'm not okay. And so he kind of gave me his gems of, like, you know, make sure you get up every day. make sure you do whatever you need to do to take care of your health. Get up, eat food, work. Like, if you do that, you'll have a purpose or, like, some reason to keep going forward.
Right.
So it did really help me. I think my mom had also told me something like, you know, and it came from, my parents are very, like, they're loving and caring and nurturing. I still live with them, so yes, they're wonderful.
Yeah.
But,
Absolutely.
but,
Right.
No better parents in the world.
I know, right? So, like, but they, like, they're hard. They're, like, they're not used to stuff like this, and they're very
Of
much
course.
so, like, hardworking people, and they don't take days off. So my mom was like, you know, you don't get to take a day. You don't get to take
Right.
a day off. You have to keep moving. And at first, I was very resentful towards it because I was like, well, I feel horrible. Like, I don't feel good at all. I want to quit. Not quit my life, but just, like, I need a break.
Yeah.
But it was beneficial because it helped me persevere. I don't get to take a day off. You get to heal, and you get to deal with what you're going through, but you don't get to quit.
That's true.
You know, you still have to fight for it. You still have to fight for yourself. And so that's something that I learned.
Thank you for sharing. I just want to ask, like, I don't know how transparent you're comfortable being right now.
I'm open.
You
What's good?
sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Just because I know that people may not be watching live right now, but they're going to see the show.
Yes, they will.
You know, they're going to, for sure. Yeah. And it's going to be a lot of ladies, like, way more than we can even think right now, that would say, wow, like, I've gone through this. Like, I've gone through this. And everybody went through it a different way.
Right.
You know, but we still have the ties. It still happened, and we sympathize. So, could you just give us a little more background of this story? Because I know you say you at college, but you know we have children who just graduated, and I say children because I still feel like they babies. They just graduated high school and they're excited about going to college. You know, with the pandemic and everything, they're excited. Oh, we're going to experience this, and then things are different this way, and then things are different that way, and they think it's going to be like how it was, and it's not. It's not what it's all cracked up to be, especially if you're not focused, if you're not on what you need to be on and aware of the things that you need to be aware of.
Right.
Like when I started in freshman at college or whatever, and we had to have this course on sexual assault and everything, and it was like it happens and as you're a freshman, and I'm like, what? Like then it was like the little red emergency things, and it was kind of freaking me out. Like,
Right.
oh wow. So for children who are just going to college, or maybe adults, you know, it can happen to anyone. Like it has no picks. Okay,
It has no picks.
that's right.
Everybody's
So
fair game.
right. So just if you want to just give a little background of, you know, how it happened, you know, so they can see, hey, I wasn't just sitting out there like, oh, come get me. It wasn't a thing like that,
Yeah,
you know.
And even if it was, nobody's still supposed to rape
Yeah,
you.
about to say,
And
even
you know, you're so
if you
right.
was out there,
That's so
you
right.
know what I mean?
That's so
Yeah.
right.
You know, so as far as the story goes, I was, again, my freshman year, second semester. I had just finished my midterms. I think I bombed them, and my friends were like, let's go party. I didn't really drink. Wasn't a big drinker. But my friends wanted to drink because of midterms. So we did. We drank. I went to one party, got canceled. Police came down, shut it down. I went to my dorm room, and a couple of girls, or my roommates I was close with, the ones that I had hung out with,
Right.
but didn't know. Put in hand quotes. I didn't know these women.
Oh.
You know, they're my friends.
Right.
I just met them
Right.
going to college, but I
Right.
didn't know.
You didn't
these
know
women,
them.
you
Right.
know?
Right.
I mean, they were my friends, and they were my friends after the assault. They were my friends for years later. But originally, you know, when you go to college, you are meeting new people.
That's
These
right.
are people that you don't necessarily know. Like, hey, they're gonna look out for you. And granted, also, I was always the grandmother of the group. Like I said, I didn't drink. I
Right.
would be the one who's watching everyone and
Exactly.
making sure everyone's okay.
Exactly.
I'm making sure everybody's coming with me.
That's right.
I'm making sure everybody's safe.
Yeah.
That was me.
Right.
But that night I chose to drink, and that night I chose to go out and party because I wanted to be.
You were celebrating.
I'm celebrating.
Right.
I'm trying to for second semester.
Which
you know?
it's okay to celebrate life, but you want to celebrate life with not people who you just vibe with, but who you trust.
right.
Trust.
Right.
Okay.
Trust.
I'm sorry.
No. Fair statement. So I decided to go to the party, and my friend knew she knew these two guys who said they were upperclassmen, and they're from New York. And she's like, oh yeah, or we were like, can we join you because our party got shut down? My friend was like, yeah, we'll ask. They asked the guys. They said we could come. We walked down, I think it was New Jersey Avenue. If you're from DC, that's where we were. Walked down New Jersey Avenue to some upperclassmen homes that they rented out. We got there. The setup was weird. You walk through the door, and there's some doors on the side to the apartments. Weird setup. But two young men opened the door, one with a striped shirt, brown and black striped shirt, one with a black shirt. The one with the stripe and black shirt, his name was Mark. The one with the black shirt, his name was Tim. I only tell you details because, one, I had to go through court and had to explain that. But also, my mom had always said, if you are going out, you need to make sure you know what your surrounding is. She said, I do not want to hear that you are the next Natalie Holloway.
That's right.
She said, you need to tell people where you're going, and you need to be with a group, and you better not walk off with anyone. That I knew. So it wasn't like I wasn't educated on what to do. I went with a group of at least 4 or 5 other girls.
Okay.
My floor mates, my friends, even friends that I knew from middle school.
Friends, guys. But we love you. Yes. We love you. We love you. But
so this is what I did. I went with them. We get to the upperclassmen. They let us in the house. They have a little music playing. The upperclassmen, there's one, the striped shirt and the black shirt, they kind of were trying to talk to my 2 friends that got invited. Okay. So they didn't even pay attention to the 3 other girls that were with me.
I don't mean to cut you off. Now, during this time, did they seem like aggressive? Did you have any inclination at all? Like, was the vibe, did it fall off at all?
No. I assumed, and that's another thing too, I assumed because these people went to Howard University, these people were students.
Okay.
I said, oh, we're fine.
Good point.
Nothing, we're with Howard people.
Yeah,
Howard.
Great.
We're safe.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, we're fine, we're good. That wasn't the case.
Right.
You know, we get there, there's a guy his name is Paul. I didn't know his name. I didn't know anybody's name at the time, but I know in retrospect.
Okay.
But Paul, he was wearing a blue shirt, and he offered us a drink. He said, hey, you guys want a drink? We'll take shots. I said, okay. Me and my 3 other girls that were with me, they all took shots with me. The guys took the shot from the same bottle. We saw it. I think it was like 1800 or something. I don't drink, y'all.
Okay.
I don't drink.
She don't drink.
I don't drink.
But I do. So.
Oh, you take communion.
Right. Hello. Look, give me a cat full. I'm sorry.
So I guess I didn't know my limit at the time, experimenting, all that stuff. We drank maybe about 7 shots.
Wow. That's my favorite number, y'all.
7?
That means the 7 is the number of completion, y'all.
That's a lot. But they were doing it with me, so I felt safe.
You felt, right.
You know, so I'm like, okay, they're drinking.
I'm in this. I got somebody in here with me. We together.
You know, so I think I thought I was safe. My last recollection was of me. I took pictures all the time, which is like I said, evidence is important.
Right.
I took pictures all the time.
Okay.
So my last picture was of my friend dancing with somebody. They put music on. But like I said, when I walk in the room, I always make sure I know everybody and what they're wearing. So there was Paul with the blue shirt. There was a guy, it's called COAS, our School of Arts and Science shirt, Howard shirt. He was tall, and he was wearing that shirt. There was a guy in the center. There was a bed. He was sitting with 2 white girls or something like that. And
White girls at Howard?
It was really weird.
Sorry.
No, but listen, you couldn't miss it. So it was like the guy with the 2 white girls at Howard when I had to share my story.
Okay, so what's this setting? Where are we right now?
We're inside a house or an apartment.
Inside of an apartment?
Yeah, but inside a room inside of an apartment.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. You said it was a bed.
That's why I was like, excuse me.
Like in the living room?
Okay, no. I'm sorry.
So we're in an apartment. There's a room. There's like a kitchen. There's a hallway, and other rooms.
Okay.
That's what it looks like.
Oh.
So we're in the center room. The guy's sitting on the bed. He has a white shirt on and a Gucci belt and these Tim boots. I remembered it like yesterday. I was like, okay, I know. They leave. But again, that was my last recollection was of me taking a picture of this girl and my friend and the people dancing. I black out pretty much. When I'm done blacking out, I see a whole group of guys coming into the room. Like, it's just way more. The ratio is definitely off now compared to what it was before. It's crazy. The music's playing. Everything's wild. I black out. I wake up. There is one person, Paul, who is dragging me down a hallway to a room. I get to the room, and he's trying to take my clothes off of me.
Oh, no.
And I'm telling him, no, I don't want to do this.
Oh,
and
no.
he's like, you don't want to do this? I black out. I wake up. Another person, co-os shirt, tall, dark-skinned guy with the black shirt, is taking me to another room, and he is trying to take my clothes off of me, and I'm telling him, I don't want to do this.
So it's two.
So it's two.
It's two.
So I can't, so for my court case, when it comes to the court case, because I don't have physical evidence that those people were involved, they were not a part of the case. I couldn't name that person. They didn't use that information.
The system's messed up. But I'm sorry.
I wouldn't say it's messed up, but I would say that they try to give people a fair trial. That's how I look at it. And granted, yes, I was abused and I was assaulted.
Right.
But they try to give people a fair trial. If I can't identify a person, you can't use that information.
Right.
You just can't. And I understand that.
I understand that to a certain degree, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay, we can let that rock. But, I pretty much, I'm taken to this room. He tries to take my clothes off. I say, no, I don't want to do this. He's kind of very coy with me, like, oh, you don't want to do this? I black out. I wake up standing in the middle or center of the room where I originally was in the first place. While I'm standing there, the music's blaring. The lights are off and on. People are running past me. My friend runs past me. She's like, oh, I have to throw up. And in my mind, I'm like, I have to throw up. But I'm so drunk that I can't say anything. I don't know how to move. I can't move.
Right.
I'm just stuck. I feel like I'm petrified. I don't know if you've seen, Harry Potter, but, I'm stuck.
Right.
And she runs past me and has to throw up. She comes back, and then I finally muster up, whatever I can to say I have to throw up, too. And I don't know y'all, but I'm not sloppy.
Yeah.
Right. And I refuse to be sloppy.
Yeah.
So I was just I need to throw up.
Right.
And the guy with the white shirt and the Gucci belt came, and he was like, I can help you. He grabs my hand and takes me to a bathroom. The bathroom, I'm going to describe it. The door is here. There's a sink here. There's a mirror here. There's the toilet. There's a bathtub. There's a window in the bathtub. Very small, square bathroom. He takes me to this bathroom. I end up throwing up. He, gives me tissues. He's wiping my face. I'm like, oh, my gosh. I don't say it because it's in my head. I'm sitting here wow, this person's really nice. He's helping me clean my face off. He's helping me do all this nice stuff for me.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I get up. He's like, yeah, no doubt. I give him, a little church hug, walk to the bathroom. And then when I start walking to the bathroom, I rinse my mouth out, I wash my hands, and I didn't realize it until, retrospect, he had positioned himself in front of the door. And I went to go reach for the door, and he turned the lights off. And I looked at him why are you turning the lights off on me? What's happening? And he had said, I have to tell you something. So I was, drunk, but, I'm going to hear this person out, and he helped me clean my face off. I might as well listen to whatever he has to say. He sat me on the toilet seat, went into the other corner near the bathroom. I could see because there was light coming in from the bathroom window.
Okay.
But it was still very dark. And he looks at me. He stares at me for at least, I have to say, a minute. He didn't say anything to me. And then he went to pull my pants down and rape me. He turned me over and tried to rape me. And no one could hear me because the music was too loud.
Okay.
No one could hear me.
Wow.
And so what seems to be a very, very long time, I'm just in that bathroom. Nobody has said anything. I don't even know where my friends are. I'm yelling. I'm telling him it's not okay. Nothing. Eventually, my friend who was with me comes and bangs on the door. She knocks on the door. And I can hear, like, where's Brianna?
Right.
Like, well, I don't know where Brianna is. Where's Brianna? They bang on the bathroom door, and that's when I realized, like, the door is locked. Like, this
Wow.
person locked me in
Right,
the bathroom and
right.
did this. And afterwards, they're like, where's Brianna? They bang on the door can't open. He's like, I'm not done yet, and continues to rape me. Finally, when he's done, you know, I have to put my clothes back on, and I cry. Like, I just start crying. Like,
Right.
I'm in tears. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what just happened, but I was a virgin, so that's kind of how I lost my virginity. But I didn't, I had no idea what had happened. I'm in complete shock. I don't
Right.
know what
Right.
what this was.
Exactly.
And he tells me he's not letting me out of the bathroom until I get myself together. So I have to, I have to sit in that room, or I was standing in the room, like trying to get myself
Exactly.
together. Finally, when I think I get myself together, he looks at me in my face. He's like, "You're not together. You still look like you've been crying. Get yourself together." I'm still sucking it all in. Finally, when he's done doing that, I realize, like, I've been raped. Like, this is rape. I don't.
Exactly.
I get I'm drunk, but that was not okay.
Right.
And but in my mind, I was like, I lost my virginity. I don't know who I lost my virginity to. I don't know who. I don't know what just happened. And I don't know his name. So I asked him what his name was, and he smirked at me, and he said his name. He said Chris. And then he was like, "Are you together?" And I shook my head, and he, like, slid out of the bathroom and walked out. My friends peered in, like, "Are you okay?" And I sat down, and I was like, I didn't sit down. I was like, shaking.
Yeah.
And I just laid on I repeated over and over again, "I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay." I black out. And I think I laid on the floor. I wake up to Tim, one of the guys who had invited my friends there, trying to put on my shoes. And I wigged out on him for trying to put on my shoes. In retrospect, I don't know who took off my shoes. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
But then they tell us to get in the car with them because they're going to take us back to Howard. And we get in the car. My friends are like, "What happened, Bree? What happened?" In the car with the people that had just assaulted.
Are you serious?
And I'm like, "Nothing happened. I'm okay. I'm fine. It's okay." And, like, I'm trying to tell them, like, stop bringing it up because
Stop
I don't want
saying
anything to happen. I don't know what these people are going to do.
Even though you're already at the point of what the you-know-what,
Yeah.
you're still trying to, make sure everybody else is not trying to reach that what the moment,
Yeah.
Like,
I was scared. I was terrified because I was like, I don't know what could have happened.
Mm-hmm.
We get to the dorm room. My friends tell me, they're like, "Bree, please tell us what happened." I fall on the ground and I cry and I tell them I was raped. They say, "Oh, we need to go report it." I tell them I'm not reporting it. I'm fine. I'm good. I walk to my dorm room. My friend, she wakes up my roommate and she tells my roommate Brianna's been assaulted. I go to the bathroom. I get ready to go to the bathroom, and my friends are like, "You can't go to the bathroom. You can't take a shower. You can't go to the bathroom. That's how you get rid of evidence. If you do that, it'll be over." I'm like, "I don't care." My friends that were there at the party and my roommate dragged me out of the bathroom and took me to the hospital. I'm fighting and kicking, and I'm like I'm throwing blows. Like, you guys are not taking me. I'm crying.
But you're also so cute and little, so.
So I'm like, I don't want you guys to even be here, and I'm so against it. But I am cute and little, so they threw me over their shoulder,
Right.
and carried me to the hospital. That was about 1.5 miles away.
Wow. I do want to ask, after this happened, were you ever angry with your friends at any point, feeling like, how you guys miss me? How you guys not? I mean, I know I'm cute and little, but, like, for something like that, like, I'm the type, where's my friend? No, where's my friend? Or, girl, we both gonna go in this bathroom. You just never know, So, like, were you ever angry with them?
I don't think I was angry. I think more so, like, I mean, my parents had said something like, where were your friends? And for me, we're young. Like, people are naive. I get that. And then I think about it, too. Like, I am the person that usually makes sure everybody's okay. So for them to not realize that was maybe their responsibility, or maybe someone should be responsible for that. I'm not mad about it. I don't hold resentment towards it. I just know, like, I know now, you know, and I can't be mad at them for not knowing. I do wonder, where were my friends? That's something that did go through my mind for a while, but I can't hold resentment towards it, and I just don't.
Wow, that's very big of you. That is very big of you, because y'all ain't my friends no more. Bye. Just joking.
But, I mean, afterwards they did, when they found out, they did, you know, hold me down. Like, afterwards, after I went to the hospital, they took all my clothes, they took everything. They asked me to report it. I set a report there. So they did have it on record.
Right.
They just didn't take it to the police department. However, when we got back to my room, I had told my friend who was invited, like, hey, the person that raped me, his name is Chris, call the people. And, like, she called and was like, well, my friend was raped by one of your friends. The guy, Mark, who answered the phone, he was like, no, I've never heard of a Chris. It happened maybe, like, 2 or 3 times, and then I got a call from Chris off of the guy who invited us, off of his phone.
He called you?
He called. Yeah, he called.
Yeah, because he wanted to make sure.
Yep.
Covering his track.
Yes, he was covering his tracks. So he pretty much called and said, oh, I heard someone said I raped them. Let me talk to her so I can tell her what happened. Those were his exact words. My friends sat down and they were like, no, she's been in the hospital all day. She's on all these different drugs. You can't talk to her. So he hangs up. He calls again and he's like, oh, well, since she's not awake or whatever, let me talk to y'all. And he spoke to them. I don't know why he felt like he should speak to them, but he did. We recorded it on a MacBook. We recorded the whole conversation on a MacBook.
That's good.
So my friends, they did do that. I was in the corner on all different types of stuff, recuperating and all that stuff. But my friends, they did show up.
Okay, I apologize. Yo, I'm going to say in front of everybody. I apologize. I don't want you or your friends to think I'm coming at you, but just knowing who I am, like, you know, and, like, I'm really loving, I am super overprotective. Like, that's how my parents raised me, you know? Like, you going out with a group of women, like, stick together. Not even just with women. Like, you know, just stick with your people. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I commend them. Thank you guys for taking care of Bree. We appreciate that. That was very smart, by the way.
So Chris called you off of Tim's phone.
Off of Mark's phone, but yeah.
Mark's phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Mark is the guy who invited you. Okay, so what's up with Mark?
So that's a really interesting question. I will tell you that when it came to, it's really weird, and not many people ask about that, but he is the only person after I was assaulted who would come over and talk to me. I don't know if it was to cover his tracks, or I don't know if it was because he was involved. I don't know. But he knew that I was assaulted, and he was the only one who would be like, hey, how are you? It's always been weird. And even when I go to Howard University events, they're still there. And he's the only one who says anything to me. And his friends will always tell him, like, don't talk to her, don't say anything. But he is the one who's like, hey, even after the party or whatever, or when he was calling, even when, like, we were calling to try and figure out what happened, he's the only one who would pick up the phone. He's the only one. I don't know what his deal is. I still can't tell you. I have no idea. But I will tell you that he did, and he still always speaks to me.
All right, what's his address?
What's his address?
What house he stays
Everybody
in?
getting their pen and paper.
I don't know. It's really weird. I never
we got
asked.
some questions for you, Mark. Like, nah.
Yeah. That's
Me and Darnell about the role. You coming?
Yeah. I couldn't tell you. I still wonder, but I do have I had a restraining order against Chris, the individual that raped me. Not their friends, but, you know, him. He's not allowed to be anywhere near me. Probably should refile. But I guess at this point, because we're not in the same vicinity, I don't think of it as anything, but I might still want to, because you just never know.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't know what's in other people's minds and what's going on and what they're really thinking, and that might not have been enough for him, you know. And you said that they said, oh, this is what they do. This is what they used to doing.
So in the court case, after we went through, and the crazy part too, like right before, so we're getting ready for the grand jury trial, which is wild because they will sit down and try and prepare you the best way they know how. And when you are going through that, they will sit down and be like, oh, you know, they're going to ask you these questions. They run through the questions. like crazy questions that you would just be like, no, this didn't happen. They'll be like,
Yeah.
no, you can't use that, because then they'll turn it and spin it the way they want to spin it. So I went through that all night. I stayed in DC. I live in Baltimore. Went there, stayed at the Department of Justice with my attorney, and went through it all night just for him to take the plea bargain the next day and say like, oh, we're going to take a plea bargain. So I had prepped all night for it. With the plea bargain, it got moved later, but he's saying that he did do the crime. I had to, we got to the plea bargain trial, and I found out we have the same birthday. I found me and the person that assaulted me, we have the same birthday. I was able to share my victim impact statement. And so I know that he has to file as a sexual offender for the rest of his life, but it depends on where he lives. So people, if he goes to certain states, he doesn't have to. And so, yeah, those are just some of the things that I learned. I don't know if I answered your question, forgot a little bit, but.
I just think that that's straight pathetic. Like, that is crazy.
It's the law. And, you know, like, first offenders, too, he's a first offender. He's first time getting caught. So that plays in hand with a lot of the things. Also, my judge that I had, he was a defense attorney for years. And he played my attorney had told me, he's a defense attorney. This is going to be a hard case. They are going to come for you. Are you ready? That's one of the main reasons why people don't want to report it, because they will come for you and they will bash you. I had people calling my friends. I had people like different attorneys on the opposing and calling my friends, people I knew, trying to figure out what my character was, or is this person a good person? This person has to be a bad person. Give me an example. I never felt safe for at least 3 years. I was going through that.
That is so crazy. I'm so sorry.
So once it was finally over and done, you know, it was done.
Right.
And I think that's another reason why they gave me a plaque. They did give me a plaque. The Department of Justice was like, oh, she went through with the case. A lot of people don't go through with the case.
That's so true.
A lot of people pull out before it's even time.
Wow, like I said, that's so commendable of you, but I don't want to say I'm sorry that you had to go through that, because I truly believe that God seen fit for you. God don't put no more on us than we can bear. Yeah. And, you know, when Satan intend for your bad, God intend for your good. Yeah. So now that you're at this point, you were able to get over that hurt, and that, you know, that was your trial and your tribulation, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't nothing that you did to yourself. You know, it wasn't something that you just put yourself in. That's right. It was something that someone inflicted on you, you know, and now you're at a point where it's like, I can help someone else. I can help you with resources. I can confide with you, like, you know, I understand what's going on. So that's really, really, really huge for you.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wrap this up.
Oh, okay. No, I thought you wanted to say something.
I was just saying.
I'm so sorry.
I'm
so sorry.
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle.
Okay, guys. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in. Royale Urban Media, R.U.M TV on Mixed Station Radio. We really appreciate it. Thank you to my guests. Like, you guys, this is not the first time you're going to see them. It's not the last time you're going to see them, because we're going to be back, y'all. We got some things to talk about.
Yes, indeed.
So thank you guys so much, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Bye.
That was cool.
Thank you. Thank you.